everyone! If you follow my Twitter, you may have already seen, but I got the traveling book. I don't have the pens on here right now, but I promise I have them. Anyway, this is a book that Miranda from Books 101 bought and decided that she wanted to do a little project. She was gonna send it to people around, or to a person around the world, and they in turn would send it to other people. And now it's in Texas! So have it be known, the traveling book is in WhittyNovels' bedroom. The purpose of this is just to kind of like mark things in it, and I did that. And the point of this video is to show you what I marked. I went through this with a pencil and a highlighter. I don't think I can show you every single thing I did, but I will try and go through it. I'm not going to focus on any other things that other people may have drawn because they've already made videos about it. Major spoiler alert right now. If you have not read The Fault in Our Stars, just get off the video because I will be going through, literally reading some sentences out of this and telling you different things. So if you haven't seen the movie or read the book, don't watch this video. Let's just get right into what I put. By the way, I apologize in advance for putting a lot of humorous comments in a book that is maybe not so humorous at times. So the first thing I did is in the very cover page, I covered up John's last name with the sticky note and put John Mean instead of John Green. You got it. On the next page, it's on the publishing page right here, there's a small sentence that says, "The moral right of the author has been asserted." But I underlined that and did a little up arrow and said, "I feel as if though John has no moral right to do this to me." Because the feels. On the very first page, I put another sticky note. I was originally gonna do this all in sticky notes, but then I realized that it couldn't all fit, so there's only a couple sticky notes. But on this sticky note, on the very first page, chapter 1, I said, "Remember when we were all young and naive, thinking this wouldn't ruin our lives?" Then on another page, I highlighted random letters, and then those letters spell out a word or a sentence, and I said, "I love this book." When we get a description of Augustus for the first time, it says he's leany muscular, and so I underlined that and put a heart face. And then it said mahogany hair, and obviously I put, "That is mahogany!" I saw the opportunity and took it. Then when he says, "I'm on a roller coaster that only goes up, my friends," I put a little roller coaster. Don't you love it when your phone dies and while you're waiting for it to come back to life while it's charging, you fall asleep? Ah, same. The next thing that I did was I highlighted a line and added a comment to it. The line is, "The existence of broccoli does not in any way affect the taste of chocolate," and I just said, I think about this a lot, because I do. Okay, this is like, I'm so glad I did this in pencil, because someone's gonna erase this or something, but there's this part where she's talking to her mom, and her mom goes, "I know, love," so I circled the word love and put Warner by it. Oh man, I need to stop. I need to be stopped. Then there's a line that says, "Mom drove me directly from school to the bookstore," and I underlined that and put yes above it. And then whenever Caitlin and her are at the mall, Caitlin calls her darling, and so I circled it and put also Warner, then in parentheses, okay, I'll stop. Then by the scene, wherever they're in the mall and the little girl is using Hazel's cannula, I put just a little comment to the side, "Rest in peace, John's cameo in the movie." So now this is the chapter where Hazel starts explaining what an imperial affliction's about, so I put up here, I said, put a tally if you googled an imperial affliction after this scene, and no one's gotten this after me, obviously, so I'll just have my tally, but I hope by the end of this endeavor there'll be a couple more tallies and it won't look like something dumb. Hazel says the line, "I'd known plenty of dead people, of course, but I'd never dated one. I couldn't even imagine it, really," and I just underlined that and then put a sad face because foreshadowing. Later when Isaac's in the hospital and they're listing qualities of a good nurse go, and then it's like, "One, doesn't put on your disability," and stuff like that. That's actually a quote pulled directly from Esther Earl's journal, so I just put Esther with the heart and then rest in peace. The line is, "My little Fuffy Wump Sticky Wiki." I highlighted the word Fuffy Wump because my username for a bunch of things is or was Fuffy Wump. So that's, people always ask me, what does Fuffy Wump mean? And that's what that's from, so I just kind of shouted myself out, I don't know. At the scene where Hazel is telling her mom that she's a grenade, I wrote up on the side right here, "This breaks my heart," because that's one of the saddest scenes in this book to me. And then later on it says, "I'm going to go to my room and read for a while, okay?" And then again I put same. Whenever Hazel and Augustus have their first text conversation saying okay back and forth, I just kind of put little speech bubbles around the texts because I thought that was funny because it's like a reference to the iPhone. Right when Hazel gets out of the hospital after the whole headache, lack of oxygen thing, when she sees Augustus for the first time, it says his hair was messy, so I underlined that and put very important. Then I highlighted the quote, "What a slut time is, she screws everybody," and then put a clock by it, because that's one of my favorite quotes ever. Then the scene right before they leave for Amsterdam, and you can hear Augustus yelling to his mom from inside, because it's my life, Mom, and stuff like that. I just put, "No," with the sad face up by it, because... Then someone else already had highlighted this entire section where he's like, "I'm in love with you," but right below it, I put, "I was sort of crying by then," because that's a quote from later on in the book, and I think it's just so sweet, and I was crying, yeah. In this blank space after the chapter ends where they get on the plane for Amsterdam, someone had written or drawn this airplane, and I just did a little drop arrow from one of the windows saying, "Nothing's ever looked like that ever in all human history," like Augustus would say. And then I did a landscape below the plane and then put 10/10 artistry because it's not good, but I tried. In Amsterdam, Hazel's mom says, "I like watching you sleep," and then I put beside it, "Is this a quote from Edward Cullen?" Whenever Hazel and Gus go to Orange and the waiter's explaining what the guy said when he first discovered champagne, "Come quickly, I am tasting the stars," I wrote above that, "The fault in our champagne." In the scene where they're talking about heaven and an afterlife, she says, "I think forever's an incorrect concept," and he smirks, "You're an incorrect concept." And I just put, my favorite line, "Why wasn't this in the movie?" And then after they have their date at Orange, someone had drawn this table right in the corner, so I added a very artistically perfect just the canal back here with the fence and the houses behind there. Then whenever they meet Van Houten for the first time, when it's describing him, I put right here, basically Santa, because that's how he was described. Then they're talking to him and they say, "But you are American," and then he says, "Incurably so, it seems." And over here I underlined that, "But excuse you." Later on, when Van Houten's talking about drinking scotch, I just put, "He reminds me of Haymitch." And then Augustus said, "God, you're sexy," and someone had put a wink face, but I put ditto. And then later on, they're going up to his room, and he stops after getting off the elevator and winces in pain, and I put, "No," again. And then she says, "I have an Augustus Waters fetish," and I put same. The scene right before he tells her he lit up, there's a little blank space right here, so I put, "Stop here and pretend like neither die and they get married." So if anyone wants an alternate ending, just stop on page 211 in the paperback version. So then I did something that I thought was clever. I went through these last couple chapters and went through like the stages of grief with Hazel. So like right after he tells her, she says no, and so I circled that and put stage 1, denial. Whenever they're going back to Indianapolis and it says Hazel's dad was holding a sign saying, "My beautiful family and Gus," I kind of drew him holding the sign. It's kind of wompy, but I thought it was cute. At the scene wherever Isaac and Augustus egg what's-her-face's car, I just add a little egg right there. At the part where Gus's father is like, "Our children are weird," and then her dad says, "Nicely phrased." I crossed out the word weird and put wonderful. At chapter 18, which is the gas station scene, at the very top of the chapter, I put, "Pause, go get tissues." Unpause. There's a part toward the end when it says, "There were days of pajamas and beard scruff," and I underlined beard scruff and said, "Hell yeah," because I like beards. Okay. At the line where it says, "Anyway, that was the last good day I had with Gus until the last good day," someone had drawn this sad face crying a puddle, and then I drew a bigger puddle and said, "Your tears, my tears." And then again I did the thing where I highlighted random letters. You can't see it because it's dark now, but let me see, can you see that? Possibly. This one says, "I love Augustus Waters." On chapter 21, which is when we find out he dies, this is what I was planning to do to this book from the moment I got offered to be sent it, but what I did was, it says, instead of Augustus Waters died 8 days after his pre-funeral, I crossed all of that out, or didn't cross it out, but rather I put sticky notes over it and said, "Augustus Waters got all better." On the next page, Hazel's explaining a whole story about the time she goes to the doctor, and she says her pain level's a 9, and she's like, "No, I saved my 10, and now here's the 10. I don't know if that made any sense, but I highlighted that entire section up here, and then put, "When my dog died in 2012, I read this passage over and over." So I just remembered this was something like I really related with. At the part where Hazel's going through Augustus's Facebook and reading all the different posts, I wrote some in between, so I put, "Come back and you didn't deserve this." Then Hazel was saying she was crying in her parents' lap while the tide rolled in, and just that one line reminded me of a song that I really like called "Comes and Goes" by Greg Laswell. So I wrote out the entire first half of the song, and then the last line, which says, "It comes and goes in waves, I'm only left to wonder why," I highlighted that. Then while Isaac's talking, and he's talking about how whenever he got his eyes out, Augustus burst in and said, "I have wonderful news. You are going to live a good and long life filled with great and terrible moments that you cannot even yet imagine." I just highlighted that and said, I want this tattoo, because I completely forgot about that line, and it just like made me stop, and I was like, wow. I promise this is the last time my camera will malfunction and I can finish this video. Whenever Hazel's talking to her dad, she says the line, "I feel angry," and so beside that I put stage 2 anger because it goes on with the stages of grief. I put an entire bracket around this next scene. It's the scene where it's the hump the moist cave wall, and I just said, why wasn't this in the movie? Because that is like the best scene in the book. Shall we all agree? When she's at support group for the first time after Augustus dies, she says, "I wish I would just die, Patrick. Do you ever wish you would just die?" And beside that, I put stage 4, depression, going on with our stages of grief. In the very end, whenever she's reading Augustus's letter that he wrote to Van Houten, one of my tears had dripped on the page, and you can't see it anymore, but you can kind of like feel it's rough. So I drew a little circle around where it had dropped and then put "my teardrop," and then you can see it on both sides. And then it says also "my teardrop" on the back where you can see it. And then on the very last line, "I do, Augustus, I do," I put stage 5, acceptance. In these back pages, everyone had written a lot of stuff. There's like poems and stuff, and there was a whole blank page. I wanted to contribute, so I put, "I can't draw or write, but I hate this empty page, so I'm gonna do something any kindergartner would do, an acrostic poem." And it says Tifios all the way down, and it says, "The feels, I have feels, I'm crying, so many feels, John Green is mean." And then XOXO WhittyNovels. And then on the very back page, I just put the date I had my name and where I am, Texas, USA. And that concludes everything I put in the traveling book. My phone ran out of space again. So all I really had left to say was, thank you for watching this video. The next person I'm going to be sending this book to is Danny from Danny Darling in Canada. So the next time you'll see this will be on her channel. I recommend you go check it out. I'll link her down below. So, thank you, Miranda, for this idea. It was really neat. It's really fun to see what everyone else thinks about the book. I will see you all next time. Sorry for technical difficulties. Bye!